Howdy, this is King Dadnator. Welcome to the Island of Númenor. This is a server I've been a part of for about a year now. Group of friends all got together and decided to get on and share a world together and build some stuff. There are some amazing artists on this server, as well as some great redstoners and just all around a lot of fun people. It is a vanilla server, but you'll see the one thing that I do have is creative fly. I just find with builds like this, at the scale that I like to build, that without creative fly, it's impossible. It would just take way too long to use scaffolding and dirt blocks and that kind of thing to build at this scale. So it's just something that I decided that I was okay with, and hopefully you are too. So you saw in that original fly around the project that I've been working on, and I just wanted to give a little more detail about basically the last year of this build. I didn't start recording until just now, so I kind of missed all of it, so I thought maybe I would just do a tour, a little more detail, and show you what I've built. So you can see got statues throughout, and then this structure here is kind of like the lower palace level, the lower palace gardens. One of the feels that I really am going for with this build is I want to get the sense of just a really tight, compact city, with just buildings all over the place and alleys and, all that kind of stuff. So this whole area is going to be packed to the brim with structures, with buildings and all different kinds of buildings. I wanted to kind of show you this main structure is actually an island. I did a little digging around a river that flowed around to make it complete. I'm going to expand past the island, but the main structure's on the island. Right here you're seeing I actually built like a reservoir, a couple dams, and raised the level of the water that was there and expanded that out. So that first dam you saw is just the base structure. It's still going to have a lot of work done on it. This second dam is much closer to complete with a lot of detail on it. Those birds and different ornate textures and all that kind of stuff. This was my test of how I wanted to build and texturize everything. And so if we come down here, you can see a good view of what I was talking about with the tightly packed structures. And so alleyways everywhere with high windows, and I want to still detail this up a lot more too, with flags and greenery and tree planters and all that kind of stuff. But this gives me a good start. Lighthouse structure, I really liked this as well, with that big flame on top. There's definitely a color palette you can see here. The sandstones and the quartz and that kind of thing is really trying to go for more of that Mediterranean type feel, I guess, maybe. My goal really is to actually change this whole biome to be like sandstone structure, sandstone cliffs and that kind of stuff as well. So this whole mountain structure here, you can kind of see where it stopped the dirt there at the bottom, and then I added the whole mountain on top of that. And here is a statue carved out of the side of the mountain. Really kind of wanted to get that feel. And again, I tend to jump around a lot. This, I think I still want to do a lot more work on texturing wise. You saw some custom trees there. Here's another just feel for the buildings kind of all tight together. Most of these buildings don't have interiors, and that's actually something that I want to start doing more of. And one of the things I actually am going to do here in this video is build out the interior of the palace. And so that is what we want to do next. So this is the main palace structure, and I have some ideas for the inside, so would like to kind of maybe bring you along on this structure here and kind of how I'm thinking the inside of things will look. Obviously the palace is going to be much more ornate than other builds as well. But before we do that, it's time for a fireside chat with King Dadnator. I developed a love of reading early on as a kid. In fact, I can pinpoint the exact moment in my life that reading became something that was going to define a big part of who I am. I remember really clearly one afternoon, I was laying on the couch in our room in the back of our house, and we had these big, huge windows that opened onto the backyard, sunlight streaming in, and I had pulled a book off the shelf in my mother's library. She was a huge reader, and I laid down on the couch to read it, and she came around the corner and peeked over the back of the couch and saw me reading. And now as a parent, I can imagine how much joy that brought her to see her son, probably 8 or 9, maybe 10, laying on the couch reading a book. But then she asked what I was reading, and I said, well, I was reading this book I pulled off the shelf called The Fellowship of the Ring. And she said, oh, that's a good one, but you probably want to start with The Hobbit, because that's kind of where the story starts. And so she went in the library and pulled out The Hobbit, an old beat up paperback version, and handed it to me, and I sat down again on the couch and started reading. That not only started me on the path of becoming a lifelong reader, it started me on the path of becoming a huge Tolkien fan as well. I say Tolkien, I know it's probably Tolkien for those who are better educated or those across the pond, but my 8 or 9 or 10-year-old at that point called him J.R.R. Tolkien, and that's kind of what has stuck with me. So I will always list Tolkien as my top favorite author from that moment, from the magic that I experienced laying on that couch and meeting hobbits and elves and dwarves and wizards, and just the magical transportation that I had into a different world. And it's been very important to me, and I get sad when I hear people say they aren't readers and say that's not something that means a lot to them, but I can honestly say I wouldn't be who I am now without reading and without Middle-earth and all that Tolkien gave to me. So that's why in Minecraft a lot of times I go there. I go back to that world, and I try to capture some of that feeling and some of that love for the myth and the legend that Tolkien created. And that's why this build in particular is something that I am enjoying so much. It's a new Tolkien, and it's a world that he didn't necessarily create. From the new series Rings of Power on Amazon, but I think they've done a great job of capturing that feeling and that world, and capturing kind of that magic that I saw when I was a kid. So I hope you enjoy the visit to Númenor, and I hope you if you haven't yet, you'll pick up a book, and I can tell you the best place to start is Middle Earth, and maybe find some joy in reading that you haven't discovered up until this point. So thanks a lot. That's been Fireside Chat with King Dadinator, and let's get back to the build. So that was a quick time lapse, mostly of the floor and building of one of these statues. I don't know if you saw in that time lapse, but laying down glazed terracotta is tough. Getting it the right angle and the right direction and all that kind of stuff. So here we are inside the palace, and I'm super happy with how this turned out. Obviously I didn't get into all of this during the time lapse, but you can kind of see got two side wings that go off, kind of a night theme on one side and a day theme on the other, and then we're surrounded by these four statues. And one of the things I did here was I used B00's trick with gray stained glass to give some things some roundness. I really couldn't get the helmets on these statues to look right until I tried that out, and it really does a great job of bumping out the sides of walls and gives kind of that anti-aliased look, which is something graphic designers are more aware, which is what I do for my day job, and gives you that softer feel on the side of things and round things out. So down here, down kind of on the day end, you can see kind of the sun up there. This would be where the regent would stand, and you would do your daily discussions, and all the people of the court would stand alongside here. So this is the build, this is the interior. Really, again, enjoyed how it turned out. I really love kind of look and feel of the richness of it. So I really hope this will be the first of many videos that come out, so I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to like and subscribe for some more, please do that. And I will be back for some more later. So thanks for coming along for the ride, and I'll see you next time. For now, this is King Detonator signing off.